afternoon, everybody. Welcome to this week's webinar. So this is the latest Teams features, Microsoft Teams latest features. Thank you for joining. So we'll give it a couple of minutes until we kick off. We're trying the new presenter mode today, so it's where I sit in front of the screen. But of course, one thing we've learned very quickly is that the slide deck needs to be adjusted. You could do lots of other different setups and stuff like that, but which we'll come on to later on. Yeah, so if you see me standing in front of words, I'll try my best to move out of the way. We'll give it a couple of minutes. We did have a lot of people signing up for this one, so we'll just give it a few minutes before we jump into it. We are recording the session as well, so the session will be on YouTube if you want to watch it back on YouTube at any point. If you're not following us already, please do feel free to follow us on YouTube. We are on Spotify as well, so yeah, if you do need to follow us, then follow us on any of those channels. Let's just jump straight through to it then. So the agenda today, so just a bit about iCoTech services, as we always do. Apologies if you've been on before and you've seen me ramble through those slides. Probably need to change it at some point. We'll do a latest feature in Teams, just going through all of the ones really that's coming out, and then we'll do my favorite features in Teams as well. And just talk about the future development at a high level of detail. And then we'll do the Teams a Day training course, just give you an overview of what that looks like and how that works. I'm hoping that people can chat in the chat window. Lauren, I'm just going to kind of hope that is enabled and they're allowed to do that. But just before we jump into the detail, our history. So my background is really PMO, project management. So I started my career in Joe Cymru Welsh Water here in South Wales as a PMO officer. I then left did a short stint at Lloyds Bank Group as the project manager. And then I spent 5 years in Babcock International Group, where I was a project manager, program manager, portfolio manager, and then ended up being the head of projects and governance for one of their large divisions. And then I left I left Babcock International Group and went over to Companies House, and that's really the first custodian of iCoTech services. And now today, 2.5 years later, iCoTech Services is delivering technology, Microsoft 365 technology services to the likes of Bays, ONS, Betty's and Taylor's, DEFRA, Simbeck Orion, ACAS, and IPO as well. So yeah, predominantly the public sector, but we do have some private sector clients as well. So what we do is really broke it down into 4 key components. We build solutions. So we've built kind of one-off custom solutions to meet the business requirements or the business objectives for the customer that we're working for. This might be a project portfolio management solution, or a corporate risk system, or a corporate lessons learned system, or even delivering Teams. We've done Teams for a couple of our clients where it's kind of just got away with them, and they've got channels and documents and policies left, right, and centre, and they need some control. So we'd go in and do what we call 10 days to Teams. We've got products, so these are our SaaS products, and we're really excited to be working with a healthcare provider at the moment, and we're building a SaaS product which will be live in the market hopefully by February next year, so February 2022. And we do deliver a couple of other products as well, so off-the-shelf SaaS products that you can procure from us depending on the requirement. But these are more refined product sets. Services, so 24-hour support we have available through a service desk system here, and we're able to provide support services to those systems that we've built or customers have procured from us. And then consulting kind of goes around everything that we do. So consulting is really about transformational change, capturing the requirements, the objectives, making sure that the technology actually works with the people, systems and processes all working together succinctly. So that's really a summarization of what we do at iCoTech Services. The applications that we support and we specialize in, so we specialize in Microsoft Project, Project Online, Project for the Web, all those other services, Power Apps. So we build Power Apps day in, day out. That's kind of what we do. Power BI, and then Dynamics 365. But of course, in order to build all those other solutions that I've just kind of explained earlier on in the previous slide, we have to have experience in most of the technology stack across Microsoft. So yeah, that's really kind of what we do. So the latest features in Teams, I'm going to hope, fingers crossed, that we can actually chat in the chat window, because I'm going to ask you a few questions here. So just to try and just get some engagement, really, just to see, just to get your opinions. How many features do you think have been released in Microsoft Teams over the last 12 months? Could you just put a guess in the chat window for me, in the chat box? I just want to just be interested to see your view on how many you think have been delivered. Cool. I can see some coming through now. So just wait for those to be submitted. Cool. 100, 115, 26, 50. Oh, Lauren. Good guess, Lauren. 40. Cool. Yeah, that's kind of where I thought, 115, I thought it'd be a push in the last 12 months. And I just thought, there can't be that many features that come out in Teams. But I actually checked at 10. There we go. So thank you for that. I appreciate that. There's actually 293 features have been released in Teams in the last 12 months. And I've got a spreadsheet of them. So if you really want to see them, let me know. I downloaded a spreadsheet about half an hour ago from the Microsoft website, because I always wondered how many of these are, how aggressively Microsoft is investing in Teams, and clearly it's quite a lot. To have lots of these different features, to be released over this short time period, I thought was quite, quite impressive. Anyway, it just shows the kind of level of change in Teams that happens month on month. All right, just another couple of interesting facts. So 93 features are currently being rolled out. So there's 93 features. These are features as well, not really changes, but true features that are being worked on at the moment, that are being rolled out over the next couple of quarters. And then there's 134 additional features that are being developed in the service as well. So Teams is going mental, of course. It's really just due to all things that are going on in the world at the moment, the way in which we collaborate. Microsoft see this as a real platform for our growth, and our communication and our communities to collaborate. So I think it's really important to embrace it and to use it and to learn about it. So thank you for joining this call today. Of course, with that many features, 293 features being delivered over the last 12 months, I'm not going to bore you with every single one of them, I promise. I'm just going to show you a snippet of a few of them, and just to hope that maybe to bring you kind of some knowledge, some insight into how you could use Teams going forward. Just due to the nature of these things, I tend to try and stay away from live demos now, because I tend to come off the call and think, oh, I forgot to show this or I forgot to show that. So we're trying to keep this into a more of a slide deck presentation format. So yeah, let's just jump straight into it. So the presentation mode, which is the mode I'm using now. So Lauren's put together this pretty cool GIF. So if you've seen this kind of present in Teams button on the top right of your PowerPoint slides, it's a really good little feature. Yeah, the little learning that we've had, because I haven't actually used this feature before. I've seen it and I've seen it used, but I wasn't really a fan of it, and I've just kind of proved to myself why I'm not a fan of it. It's because you can't kind of cover the words. So apologies if I'm covering my own words here, but this is a cool little feature that you can put up into your slide deck, and you can you can press that button on the top right. One of the tricks I've learned from this, actually, the hard way, is that you don't need to share your window. You just need to, just kind of share the screen. Is a bit confusing. It's not, if you go online, I'll send you some details later on anyway. But you go into the top right here, and it shares your screen for you. It puts you into the PowerPoint Live presentation mode. And it's a cool little feature that allows you to do this. You also get the little laser pointers and stuff. We'll come on to it a bit later on as well. But yeah, so that's one of the latest features in Teams, is being able to open up a PowerPoint specifically and press present in Teams, and you're able to go and do what we're doing here on the screen today. You can hide that mode as well, by the way. So you can say, actually, I don't want to be in front of the screen. I just want to be in presenter mode and get all the other benefits of doing that as well. So this is the standout kind of clip. I'm a standout figure in the presentation. And it is all about creating more engaging meetings and it's more about trying to keep us active, our brains active, and not just be looking at a screen and losing the presenter in the frame. So it's all about engagement, keeping focus, and keeping the brain working and interacting with the Teams meeting presenters. So Microsoft have done a lot of work in the background to understand how we best engage with these things. Side-by-side mode, so we're not doing that today, but we could change this to side-by-side mode if I was brave enough, and I could have a bigger picture to the side of the screen, and then my presentation slide deck on the left-hand side of the screen as well. So just like this little example is on the slide in front of us. So there are a few different ways to go and engage your audience or change it up. For different meetings, maybe don't have it, but for other meetings that you're more presenting to an audience like this, using the side-by-side mode is one of the options. The other one is a reporting presenter mode. So you can change that and have a bigger version of yourself on the screen if you really want to. I'm happy being small in the corner. But yeah, this is another option in Teams, which is one of the newest features that you're able to utilize as well. So you've got three ways of presenting or structuring your presentation, the layout, to engage your audience as best as possible. But yeah, so there's some of the latest ones. If I just go to my next slide. So the other thing that we wanted to bring to your attention is CarPlay. Now, just be careful of this one. Obviously, I'm not sure how much I kind of support this one myself. But hands-free phone calls, still a distraction, obviously, in the car. But if you're in an area that you're allowed to do that, obviously, then you are able to now to have the Teams app on CarPlay. And Lauren did actually test it, because I don't have Apple CarPlay on my car, but Lauren does, and she was pleased to see that she has it on her car. So if you do have Apple CarPlay, you can use Teams, and you can use the Siri voice command as well, which is quite good and obviously much more safer. If you wanted to join, you can use Siri to call somebody via Teams, and have the conversation with them over your kind of your 3G, 4G networks, and access your kind of your contacts and your messages through that service as well. So yeah, showing you the future, showing you the potential. I wonder if one day that Elon will put the Teams on my Tesla for me one day, because that would be cool to have a Teams call with a share screen on the big screen of the Tesla whilst I'm stuck in a supercharger waiting for it to charge up. Maybe one day that'll happen. Maybe I have to put it on the votes system in Microsoft and see if we can get some engagement for that one. But I guess one of the other things that Zoom got ahead of, really, I think, for me was the idea of a breakout room. So participant assignments, you can now move people into different breakout rooms and have different windows that pop up when selecting the assignments, so assigned participants. So you can say, right, this person sits in that room and this other person sits in that room, and you can go and have your breakouts effectively. So really important for when we're doing drum beats or monthly team meetings and you want to just give a quick social challenge to people and say, look, actually go and put all your birthdays, your birth locations on a map. You could do that digitally now. Use your breakout rooms in that space, and that's just an example of how we've used it to show diversity and variety in the workplace. But yeah, if you've got like a big seminar presentation and people have signed up to certain rooms or certain conversations, you can break them out into certain working groups and then bring them back around the table as well. So that's something that Zoom definitely did first, but really useful. I think it's just lots of different features that sit behind that. I don't want to go into too much detail, but yeah. So the next one we wanted to talk about, so you can spotlight people now. It's one of the three dots. You can spotlight yourself, and you can spotlight other people depending on the permissions of the room and the meeting. But this is really where if we were on this call now and we all had our cameras on, we'd all be treated equal. It's a horrible thing to say, but teams wouldn't know who is the primary presenter. And Spotlight's basically saying, can you tell me, or can you select who the key presenter is of the meeting, which participant is maybe giving the speech or presenting the content. And so, I could be in this scenario, in this user case, I could be the attendee that's spotlighted, and teams would make it my ugly face bigger on everybody's poor screen than everybody else's, and sometimes that is a problem. I have noticed that being a problem when Spotlight isn't used. We have people, we used to have people who were like, just in their rooms or whatever, attending meetings, and the grads would just just kind of walked away with their wireless headset on, and it would still focus on this big empty room in the background, rather than Craig, who was potentially delivering the message in that meeting. So yeah, Spotlight's a really good feature, and encourage you to use that and play with that as well. Hopefully you find it useful. At this rate, I'm going to be done in in half an hour, so I'll try to slow down and go into more detail. But so the other thing is security. It depends, especially if you're having a conversation that is, getting maybe heated, or it's going to be confrontational, or it's going to be difficult. The user in Teams can now lock the meeting room and prevent additional attendees from joining. So this is once the meeting has started, you can actually lock it, and I think it's something the team. I think the room needs to be set as the meeting organizer has to be able to lock it. So, and then you can prevent other people from just clicking on Teams or clicking on your diary, or even if you've probably got it more as a mass invite, and you don't want somebody just to jump in unexpectedly. Yeah, and I think when you do click on a link for a meeting that is locked, you'll get a notification appear on the room saying it's locked. So the user who's trying to get in knows that the meeting has been locked. All right, and then they can contact the meeting organizer and say, look, can you let me in, or is there anything is there a reason why it's locked, or whatever it needs to be discussed. So that's a really cool feature, especially if you're stuck and doing one-to-ones and things like that, or having a team meeting that maybe other people are joining later on. Lock in the room to prevent, or maybe it's particularly the commercially sensitive conversation that you really, really want to just have extra security, extra confidence that the meeting cannot be attended by anybody else. That is a good little feature to use. Okay, the next one. So live reactions. We've all seen these, probably used them. I'd be interested to see how many people actually use the thumbs up. We get lots of people just kind of in team meetings doing the thumbs up, doing the love hearts, and it is actually a good way of kind of articulating an emotion or a thought or a perception. Yeah, out of interest, I'd like to see if there's any negative ones. I'd like to see if there's any boos, don't likes, or maybe don't agree, or those type of connotations as well. But yeah, great to see it, and we do use these, especially when we've got a drum beat where we've got, say, 15 people in the room at iCoHub, and then 10 people on the Teams meeting. We're truly in that hybrid state, to come off mute if you're on the Teams call and be like, yeah, those type of natural communication styles that people have sometimes. It's a lot easier just to click the heart button or the thumbs up button. So yeah, really good little feature, and I think it the idea is that it shares the sentiment of the person's feelings with the rest of the group as well. So yeah, it's a good one to use. Hopefully we'll see more of this in the future, and hopefully see some negative ones come out as well. So chat bubbles. So meeting rooms Teams rooms lets you view chat bubble notifications for messages sent by participants in a Teams meeting on the front of room displays. So we can actually see chat conversations come up on that little kind of drop down there. Can I use my pointer? Oh, I'm going to use my pointer. Look at that. Oh, my little drop down. There we go. So those notifications come up there. And if you're using a Teams room as well, which is really where this this feature is really useful. On the Teams room, you're able to see that chat window, that chat notification come up in the team itself. So if you are in that true hybrid state where you've got 15 people around the table or 10 people around the table and 5 people on the screen on Teams, and you haven't necessarily brought your laptop with you, you can see that on the room tablet in front of you. And I guess it's all about bringing to attention, a different way of communicating files and images. And, have you seen that article from BBC News to talk about X, Y, and Z? Well, actually, you can post that into the chat bubble, into the chat window, and you'll see that bubble come up so everybody knows that, okay, later on I can come back to that and I can find that link to that image. Right, so that's another good little feature as well. Cool. Pinning messages. So you can now easily pin messages to drive awareness and provide your chat members quick access to important content. So if you've got, a message, it used to be just in your chat feed, or sorry, in a team channel itself, you could pin the messages, but now actually in a group conversation or one-to-one conversation, you can pin that message. And I think it's about really making sure that you drive that attention to that card, which is important, especially as we now seem to be getting to a position where there's so many pings and dings and bongs going off on my laptop all the time, with the chat or phones or phone calls or emails coming through. It's nice to be able to say, actually, I'm going to go back through the chat and I know it's there and I know it's pinned. And that's a good little tool to use. Replying to messages. So again, we used to be able to do this on a team channel. That was the kind of natural way of being able to reply and interact with that message. But now you can actually do it to in a one-to-one chat specifically. So if you want to go and comment, or you're referring to a message that, say, Chris sent me 3 weeks ago, I could scroll back up to that message, click the 3 dots, click reply, and I can go back to that message as well. One of the other things that's quite cool is the save message feature related to that. So if you click those 3 dots, you'll see on the screen there, it's got save message. It's like a little box with a squiggly line at the bottom. That's if you've got thousands of messages. I use that quite a lot to just save it, and it comes into my messages so I can see that later on as well. It's almost like tagging or flagging an email, which is another good little feature to use. So yeah, this is I think I've covered that. Cool. Power Automate. So if you're not using Power Automate at the moment, I'd strongly advise you to kind of go and have a look at that and see what that can do. I've realised that my face is in front of the thing, so I'm going to come over to this side of the screen. It doesn't quite work. But yeah, so Teams templates can now be used to create meetings, to create tasks. There's lots of different scenarios in Power Automate you can go and look at and go and use to automate activities. So, I personally haven't used this yet. I haven't got time to go and set up the Power Automate flows, but Power Automate is super powerful, and there are some templates in there which will save you time in going to set those up. But if you are using Power Automate, and I hope you are for other things in the business, definitely going to have a look at the Teams integration and team features. One of the things that we do use it for is if we've got a customer channel, our customer email channel, so you can email support and get help, from our existing contract customers. If that doesn't get responded to within a certain time, it automatically creates a Teams chat in our Teams channel. So it says, everybody, this person has responded 4 hours ago or 3 hours ago, and nobody's responded to them. So that's a good use case for Power Automate integrated into Teams. Okay, so improved sharing experience. So the new share content experience helps presenters find their desired content more quickly and easily. All right, so you can. Sometimes people get confused on this, and I often get on calls with people that aren't totally used to using Teams. And it is quite annoying, when you're sharing your screen or your window. So one of the things to think about is, do you want to share the whole screen, or do you just want to share the window that you're particularly talking about? Obviously, pros and cons are, if you're sharing the window and you want to move to a different window, you can't do that. You have to go and unshare, move share to the window. Whereas if you're sharing your screen, you can tab across, drag and drop is a lot easier to do. But it's all about sharing the right content The other thing as well to note is you can share audio content in here as well. So the little top right ticker, you can actually, most of the time it's probably set to off as default, probably depending on your system settings. It is definitely in my case anyway. But if you wanted to show a video or YouTube video or a video of of ours, maybe to a colleague, and you wanted to reference something that was particularly important to have the sound, then you can click that toggle to the right, and when you share your content, it'll come through their speakers, and the sound that you're playing on your PC YouTube video would be played through their YouTube video as well. So, but then just a note, coming back to this conversation, this is the PowerPoint live view. So how you get yourself in front of the screen for those who have just attended as well is to go and use the not share through here, go to your PowerPoint document, click the top right hand corner, and it'll share through Teams. But yeah, and I guess it's the idea is that you can focus on the content of what you're sharing instead of rummaging through the correct content to try and get kind of the right files, and you all know how frustrating it is when you're sitting on the end of a call and somebody's kind of flicking through their files and God knows what they've got on their laptop and the files they've got on their person, just gets a bit complicated, doesn't it? So I think this just gives you the freedom of being able to select the windows that you're using, and just to keep that availability and awareness in a drive and activity in the meeting is useful. So yeah. And when I think it's just about being patient as well. If you're not used to doing this, I presume most of you probably are, but the shared screen feature, I get lots of people who I sit with, who are there like, I'm pressing share and it's not working. But yeah, just to make sure you're sharing the screen rather than the windows or so on and so forth. Probably babbling on now, sorry. So this is the default settings for Office. So one of the newest features is you can actually open the Office document in a variety of ways. So you can open it here in the app itself, as in Teams, or you can open it on the browser. So you can open it in a browser view, or you can open it in the desktop view as well. So you can actually open it in Microsoft Word desktop, and you can change the default settings for these types of documents in Teams now as well. One of the things I would say is that, as a rule of thumb, we tend to share documents and try to ask our customers to share the documents as links. Don't actually take the document off SharePoint and put it into Teams. You're just moving it from one file to the other. Really, we tend to, the culture at iCoTech and our customers is use the links of the documents. Keep the documents in their core repository and then link them out, and you'll get the same capability across the space as well. So it's really about you. This feature is really about you choosing your preferred way to open the documents. Some people like it in Teams, and just seeing it all in one place with this window frame and this view of the world. And others like moving off to the browser, and others like me, a bit more old school probably, and want to use my desktop because I've got all the features and all the functions and all the buttons are available in the ribbon that I like. If I try to open something in the browser, I end up normally moving it down to the desktop view at some point because I'm trying to use some sort of feature or function that's not available in browser. So obviously less obvious or less apparent when you're reading a PDF document, for example. So yeah, that's another little cool feature that's available. Right, and let's move on. There is more. There's lots. As I said at the top of the call, there are 230 or 293 features that are available in Teams. So have been available in Teams over the last year. So yeah, a lot there. So presenter mode, we've talked about that, but this is just a recap, I guess, hopefully for people that have just jumped in. Yeah, you can move yourself in front of the screen, side by side, and so on into the presenter mode, which is quite cool. I actually think that slide should have been hidden, so apologies for that coming up twice. Cool. So our favorite features, really. It's just one of the cool things you can do. So you do have the presenter layer has the ability to translate the slides, which is really cool. Especially if you're engaging with different cultures, different countries, being able to translate those slides for different audiences is a really cool feature. Never really had any complaints about it, but never really used it in so much detail, other than a couple of customers over the last couple of months to test it out, really. But how cool would it be if somebody in your local country is, consuming that content on the slide in their own language, you know, and therefore another person in a different country is using that content in, you know, is consuming that content in their own language. That is really going to increase engagement and increase awareness and collaboration across those multinational conversations. This is by far my absolute favorite feature. I absolutely love this. So if you don't have Teams on your phone, put it on your phone, because it's the best thing I've ever done. If you're away from your desk, make yourself a cup of coffee, your phone's going in your pocket, and you're able to go and to see the Teams call coming through, you can answer it on your phone whilst you're making a coffee. As you walk back to your desk, you can then transfer to your laptop and pick your headset back up and sit down and have your screens and all those features available. Even better when I have been in the car on hands-free, you know, with a call going on, and I walk into my house, you know, I'm not having to drop off the call, move across onto rejoin the Teams call, and be able to transfer the call directly across from device. You know, or even add another call into here as well. So it's all about you know, limiting interruption on the call quality and the call service. So that's a really cool feature, and it is really seamless, and it is a great little feature that I use a lot, especially for someone like me who's mobile around the team, around the business, you know, around the office a lot of the time. That's something that we do. So yeah, I used this earlier, my little annotation. So yeah, you can use the little annotation to move these kind of highlight items across the system. You can also use the kind of the highlighter, good old pen, and the highlighter as well. So you can do lots of things and selecting different colors and different, you know, kind of, if you want to get crazy with the colors and use orange and so on and so forth. You can make the stylus bigger or smaller. It's all around increasing engagement, increasing awareness, isn't it, and keeping people active on these calls, and keeping them concentrating. So that's a really good little feature as well. Cool. So the next feature is integration. You know, I think it's just one of those things, really. The amount of integration that's kind of used across teams is really what we see as the kind of the downside of all the other products you could use to do these type of things. So OneDrive, you know, OneNotes, putting a OneNote into Teams, into a Teams channel, and be able to collaborate on those channels is really important to me, and something that we do a lot here at iCoTech. So needs to get it in there really. I guess I referenced it earlier in my favorite feature, which is the transfer feature. But yeah, Teams is some people say it's not. I don't have it on my iPad. I don't have it on my phone. We'll just use it on my desktop. You know, I think you're kind of. I really find the benefit of Teams when I have it on my multiple devices. Of course, within reason. You've got to have your governance and your security all set up, and make sure your company you work for are happy for you to have it on your phone. But really good little feature to have and to utilize. Third-party collaboration. So obviously, as a kind of professional services organization, iCoTech will collaborate with our customers via Teams. So we collaborate with people at Microsoft. We're, you know, messaging between organizations. We're collaborating with people in our customer base, and we're doing that via Teams. So our number of emails is reducing. If we need something quickly, if we need some help or support, you could just collaborate with the stakeholders. And there's a number of different ways you could do that, of course. So, you know, just I think take some advice from wherever you're working, but you know, being able to communicate with your customers, your suppliers, your contacts, your colleagues, everybody within Teams is really important, and really gives it that next level of value for us as a business. Cool. So 33 minutes in, and I haven't taken a breath, so I'm nearly done, I promise. So the future development pipeline for Teams. So enhanced collaboration on whiteboards. So you'll be able to be more collaborative in whiteboard at the moment. There is a lot you could do now, a lot more than you used to be able to do. But whiteboard is really about actually getting together and collaborating. And it will be a great tool in the future where you'll be able to download all the cards, you'll be able to download all the kind of content and who did what, who wrote what when, and almost audit trail each of the cards that are on whiteboard as well, which would be really cool. Transcriptions. So, you know, when you have conversations one-to-ones, you can transcribe using the dictate feature that's also available in Office. But, you know, imagine being able to transcribe the conversations you have on a one-to-one basis. Suggested replies in chat using RPA and those type of things. Video filters, lots of other kind of services. A digital code is the other thing as well, which is like the ideation of kind of what they're called, the barcodes. I can't remember what they're called, but yeah, there's the code which you'll be able to join using a numerical value that'll soon go into a barcode. You'll be able to just jump onto a meeting based on the QR code. There we go. I knew it was in there somewhere. So that's the other things that are coming in the future. Okay, cool. So that's really it in terms of features. I hope we've kind of just whittled through all of them. I wanted to put them in a slide deck as well because we're recording this session. This session is available and will be posted onto YouTube. So if you want to look back, if I've gone too quickly, I'm sorry. Please go back onto YouTube, watch the video, and you can kind of just follow through and just press pause and then go and kind of just Bing or search engine how to actually maybe use the presenter mode or the kind of transfer call mode as well. So hopefully you found that useful. In terms of the kind of things we offer here at iCoTech, we do a Teams training day. So we've been asked to do this a lot now, where people just want someone, one of the technical teams, not me, one of the technical teams as a qualified Microsoft trainer to come on and actually just do a day's course of how to get the best out of Teams. So if you feel like you want to use Teams, you feel like you want to get more out of it, more than perhaps I've already shown you, then please do feel free to jump out or reach out to us at info@icotechservices.co.uk or email myself, joel.markham@icotechservices.co.uk, and I'll be happy to answer any questions that you have. In terms of other webinars and other events we've got coming up, so we've got Why Projects Fail, a project for the web, the latest features in there. We've got Toby doing an advanced session on Power BI as well, which is really cool. Toby's a really clever guy and really knows his stuff in Power BI. So if you want to get under the bonnet of that and learn how to use those Power BI visualization tools, then jump on that session. And then what's new in SharePoint as well. So a lot of our customers are still using SharePoint, still not using SharePoint. So if you need to know how to build lists and document libraries and all those kind of good things, then please do look on the website and you can sign up to one of those events. I hope I've answered kind of questions, I guess, or people's it's been useful. If you do have any specific questions, then please do feel free to put them in the chat box. I can show you. I've got like a demo version of Teams open on my screen as well. So if you had any questions, you wanted some more insight on how to do something specifically, I'm more than happy to answer any questions that you've got. But thank you for attending. I appreciate you jumping on. If you do have any other kind of requirements, then do feel free to contact us or email us at info@icotechservices.co.uk. We're on Facebook, we're on YouTube, Twitter, LinkedIn. I mean, where are we not, Lauren? Thank you to Lauren for all the efforts in the marketing department here. As always, if you've got any questions, please do feel free to give us a call. The ladies here at the front of the house can transfer you over to myself or Toby if you've got any specific questions on the Microsoft 365 technology stack. I noticed that a few people jumped in later on, so if you have any kind of if you want to watch this back and you joined the session later on, please do feel free to just follow us on subscribe to us on YouTube, and this video will be up in the next few days. It's a great question. Typical. The one question I was asked, I don't know the answer to. Is there a limit of the spotlighted users hosts? And if there is, how many can be spotlighted? I'm not entirely sure of the limit, but what I'll do is I'll answer that question and I'll come back to you all via email and just confirm how many. I'll just do a quick scan of the Microsoft website and make sure that's answered. If it's not answered, I'll go and speak to our counterparts at Microsoft. But yeah, we'll come back to you to answer that one for you. Thank you very much for attending. Much appreciated. Hope you found it useful. Please do feel free to kind of follow us, subscribe to us on YouTube, and look forward to see you on the next event. Hopefully I've given you 20 minutes back of your busy days. So thank you so much for your time, and see you on the next one. Cheers now.